In the early morning light, the city stretched and yawned, its streets painted in hues of warm gold. The soft chirping of birds mingled with the faint hum of early traffic, a symphony of a day just beginning. Amidst this bustling scene, a young girl named Lily walked briskly, her steps quick yet graceful. A small worn bag was slung over her shoulder, and her simple dress, though patched in places, was immaculately clean. Her shoes were scuffed from countless journeys, but she moved with a quiet dignity, her posture straight and her eyes full of a fierce determination. Life had never been easy for Lily. Her family constantly struggled, and each day presented a new set of worries. Yet she held on to a steadfast belief. No matter how hard life got, hope and self-respect were the keys to survival. A soft smile played on her lips as she navigated the crowded sidewalk, her thoughts already on the tasks awaiting her at the small cafe where she worked. It was her responsibility, and she carried it with pride. As she approached an intersection, Lily noticed the long line of cars stopped at the red light. A gentle breeze ruffled her hair, and she instinctively lifted a hand to tuck a stray strand back into place. Her eyes fell upon a sleek, black luxury vehicle, its windows so pristine they reflected the morning sun like a mirror. Without a second thought, she leaned a little closer. She straightened her hair, adjusted the collar of her dress, and tightened the strap of her bag, humming softly to herself. She was completely unaware of the man sitting inside the car, watching her. His name was Alex, a wealthy businessman known for his calm confidence and striking presence. But in that moment, he was utterly captivated. It wasn't her beauty in the conventional sense that held him, but something far rarer. Her raw innocence, her natural charm, the unpretentious way she carried herself. Alex had met countless people, polished and refined individuals from all corners of the globe, but Lily was different. There was a spark in her eyes, a quiet strength and grace that made him pause. He leaned slightly forward, careful not to be seen, yet unable to tear his gaze away. Every small gesture she made, the way she brushed her hair, the soft smile she gave her own reflection, the delicate tilt of her head, felt like a small miracle, something precious in a world that had long since grown numb to him. The city's chaos continued around them, the honking of cars, the distant cries of street vendors, but for Alex the world had narrowed to the space she occupied. For Lily, it was just another morning. Finishing her adjustments, she smiled one last time at her reflection and stepped back from the car. The light turned green, and the line of vehicles began to move. Lily crossed the street, disappearing into the river of pedestrians, oblivious. She had no idea that a pair of eyes had followed her every step, that a man in a luxurious car was already imagining a world with her in it. She didn't know that this one ordinary moment, leaning against a car window to fix her hair, had left an indelible mark on a complete stranger. Alex reluctantly drove on, his eyes darting to the rearview mirror, hoping for another glimpse of her in the crowd. Something unfamiliar stirred within him, a mix of curiosity, admiration, and a strange sense of longing. He had always lived in a world of wealth and calculated appearances, but this simple encounter with a girl from a modest background made him feel alive in a way he hadn't in years. Meanwhile, Lily continued her walk, her mind on mundane things, arriving at work on time, preparing for the morning rush, serving customers with a warm smile. But beneath it all, a quiet hope pulsed in her heart. She held on to her dreams, small and simple as they were, for a better day, a brighter future, a life free from constant worry. In those few moments, the city seemed to hold its breath. The sunlight glinted off building windows like scattered diamonds. The scene, though ordinary to most, was charged with a hidden magic, a moment where two vastly different lives brushed against each other for the very first time. As Alex drove away, the image of her face was burned into his mind. He replayed the way the sunlight had caught her hair, the focused look in her eyes, the genuine smile she had given herself. He had admired people before, but this was different. He realized with a startling clarity that he wanted to know someone for who they truly were, not for their status or wealth. Yet he knew he had to be cautious. He couldn't rush, couldn't risk frightening her away. There was a fragile quality to her innocence that demanded patience and respect. For Lily, life continued in its familiar rhythm. She boarded a crowded bus, holding onto a pole as it lurched forward, her thoughts still on the day ahead. She had no idea that her small, ordinary gesture had woven her into someone else's story, or that Alex was already quietly plotting how to see her again, how to let their paths cross naturally. Later that day, Lily arrived at the cozy cafe. Sunlight streamed through the front windows, illuminating the wooden tables. She greeted her co-workers with a bright smile and set about her tasks with a quiet pride. Her life was simple, but it was honest, and that gave her strength. Alex, on the other hand, couldn't focus. The morning's encounter replayed in his mind. He found himself wanting to see her again, to hear her voice, to learn her story. He asked his assistant to discreetly inquire if anyone knew of the girl he'd seen, but he knew finding one person in a vast city would be a monumental task. Days turned into a week, and Alex's thoughts remained with her. Lily, completely unaware of the admiration she had sparked, went about her life with unwavering determination. She cherished the quiet mornings, the smell of fresh bread from the bakery across the street, and the gentle hum of the city as it woke. She never imagined that a single moment at a car window could have such an impact. One morning, as Lily walked to the bus stop, Alex drove past her again. He slowed his car, trying not to be obvious. He saw her walking with the same grace, the same quiet dignity. She smiled at a child who had dropped a toy, adjusted her bag, and continued on, completely unaware of the eyes following her. Alex felt a tug at his heart, a mixture of excitement and nervousness. He desperately wanted to approach her, but he knew the moment had to be right. This anticipation, this uncertainty, only intensified the invisible thread connecting them. Lily kept walking, lost in her own world, her life moving steadily forward. She had no reason to suspect that someone from a world so different from hers was watching her, admiring her every move, and thinking about her in ways she couldn't yet imagine. The city moved around them, busy and noisy, but in its heart, a delicate and unexpected story was just beginning. In the quiet hum of a city awakening, the first rays of sunlight paint the streets in gold. People emerge, and the day begins its gentle rhythm. Up in the trees, life stirs, a chorus of chirps heralding the new day. Among the early risers is Lily, her steps quick and purposeful. She carries a bag that has seen better days, a silent companion on her daily journey. Her shoes, scuffed and worn, tap a steady beat on the pavement, each step a small testament to her resilience. With a simple, practiced gesture, she adjusts her dress, a small act of self-care before facing the world. A stray strand of hair is brushed from her face, her focus unbroken. At a red light, the city holds its breath. A sleek, black car, a symbol of a world away from hers, pulls up beside the crosswalk. From inside, Alex sits, lost in his own thoughts. Lily, waiting to cross, catches her reflection in the car's polished window. She leans in slightly, using the momentary mirror to adjust her hair, a fleeting, private moment in a public space. It's then that Alex notices her. His attention, once distant, is now captured. He sees not just a girl by the road, but a spark of life, a natural grace that stands out amidst the morning rush. There's a subtle fascination in his eyes, a quiet curiosity piqued by this chance encounter. The light turns green and the spell is broken. Lily crosses the street, disappearing into the crowd, unaware of the eyes that follow her. Alex drives on, but his gaze lingers in the rearview mirror. He can't shake the image of her. Her simple confidence, the way the sunlight caught in her hair, it all left an impression. He continues his drive, his mind replaying that brief moment. As Lily walks, she moves with an easy kindness. She spots a child who has dropped a toy and, without hesitation, she smiles, picks it up, and hands it back. It's a small, ordinary act, but it reveals the warmth of her spirit. Alex, having decided to follow at a distance, witnesses this. He sees her genuine nature, the effortless way she brings a little light into a stranger's day. She reaches the bus stop just as her ride arrives. On the bus, she finds a spot, holding onto a pole as she looks out the window, watching the city blur past. Her journey is a familiar routine, yet her eyes are alive with thought and observation. Later that day, Alex finds himself driving down the same street. His fingers tap restlessly on the steering wheel, his thoughts still on the girl from the morning. He can't explain the pull, the need to know more about this stranger who so briefly crossed his path. Meanwhile, Lily arrives at her destination, a cozy little cafe nestled near a park. Sunlight streams through the windows, illuminating the warm, welcoming space. She greets her coworkers with a bright smile, her presence adding to the cheerful atmosphere. Here, amidst the clinking of cups and the low hum of conversation, she is in her element. She moves with efficiency and grace, serving coffee, wiping tables, and arranging pastries with care. Her laughter, soft and genuine, rings out as she shares a joke with a colleague. She is a part of this place, a steady, comforting presence for the regulars and newcomers alike. Across the street, hidden from view, Alex watches. He had spent his day retracing his steps, driven by an instinct he didn't fully understand, until he found her here. He sees her interacting with customers, her smile easy and her movements confident. He sees the way people respond to her, the small moments of connection she creates throughout her day. He takes a deep breath, a new determination solidifying in his mind. He isn't just curious anymore. He feels a compelling need to bridge the distance between their two worlds. As the sun begins to set, casting long shadows across the city, Lily's workday ends. She steps out of the cafe, her trusty bag over her shoulder, and prepares for her journey home. The sunlight catches in her hair one last time, a final golden gleam before dusk. She walks, and once again, Alex follows, keeping a respectful distance. He's no longer just an observer. He's a man with a purpose. He watches her navigate the familiar streets, her steps as sure as they were that morning. She pauses to help a child who has dropped a book, her smile as warm and effortless as ever. And from afar, Alex can't help but smile too. He sees her kindness, her quiet strength, her unwavering grace in a world that often overlooks such things. She boards her bus, and as it pulls away, she looks out at the passing city, a landscape of moving lights and hurried lives. She is a part of its endless motion, a single, bright thread in its vast, intricate tapestry. Alex remains behind, watching the bus disappear. He doesn't feel a sense of loss, but one of resolve. The city is vast, their lives are worlds apart, but for the first time, that distance feels surmountable. He knows where to find her. He knows a little piece of her world, and tomorrow he will step out from the shadows. Tomorrow he will cross the street. The encounter that started with a chance reflection in a car window was just the beginning. A new day and a new story is about to unfold. The city had settled into its usual rhythm, streets alive with the hum of tires, the chatter of passers-by, and the occasional distant siren. Yet, amidst this familiar chaos, two lives were moving ever so subtly closer together, their paths weaving into an unspoken connection. Lily had no idea how much she had already affected someone she had never formally met. Meanwhile, Alex found himself thinking of her every day, replaying their chance encounters in his mind like a cherished memory. It all started with small, quiet gestures. Alex discovered little ways to see her without being intrusive. One day, while passing the park where she sometimes stopped after work, he saw her sitting quietly on a bench, reading a worn notebook. He slowed his car, pretending to glance at his phone, but his eyes were fixed on her. Every movement was deliberate, careful not to startle her. Lily glanced up briefly, unaware of his presence, brushing her hair back before returning to her notebook. Something in her simple, focused demeanor struck him deeply. There was an authenticity to her, a natural grace that no amount of wealth or grandeur could ever replicate. Another afternoon, Lily was leaving the cafe, juggling her bag and a small umbrella. The wind had picked up, threatening to topple her carefully balanced load. Just then, Alex, who happened to be passing nearby, stepped forward instinctively. "Here, let me help you with that," he said gently, taking a small package from her arms. Lily blinked in surprise, momentarily unsure if she should accept. There was something unusual about him. Not a stranger's arrogance, but a quiet, unobtrusive kindness. Hesitantly, she allowed him to help, and for a few brief moments they walked together under the umbrella. The city's bustle seemed to fade around them, leaving only the soft patter of rain and the gentle rhythm of their shared steps. These moments, small and seemingly ordinary, carried a weight that neither of them fully understood at first. For Lily, it was strange to feel a warmth in the presence of a stranger, a sense of calm and unexpected trust. For Alex, every smile, every word, every subtle glance added to the growing admiration and care he felt for her. He realized that what drew him to her wasn't just her beauty or the element of chance, but something much deeper: her resilience, her simplicity, and the quiet light she carried even in the midst of life's difficulties. As days turned into weeks, Alex found more opportunities for these subtle gestures. A morning coffee left at her usual table before she arrived, a polite greeting when their paths crossed on the street, a single flower tucked inside a bag she had momentarily left unattended. He never forced her attention or rushed the moments. Each act was measured, gentle, designed to show thoughtfulness without intrusion. And gradually, Lily began to notice. She couldn't explain why, but she felt a faint curiosity about the stranger whose kindness appeared in these small, unexpected ways. Her heart stirred at these moments, and she found herself thinking of him, wondering who he was, yet never quite daring to ask. One afternoon, Lily closed the cafe a little early and walked toward the park, hoping for a brief escape from the workday chaos. She found a quiet bench beneath a large oak tree, its branches swaying gently in the wind. She opened her notebook, jotting down thoughts, sketches, and little fragments of her dreams. It was a small habit she cherished, a moment of solitude in a life that rarely allowed for pause. Alex, coincidentally passing by, saw her and felt that familiar pull. He wanted to approach, to speak, but he knew that patience was crucial. Instead, he slowed his steps, keeping a discreet distance, making himself available just in case she needed help or simply sought a familiar presence. This time, Lily noticed him, though she didn't yet connect him to the man in the car. Something about him was oddly familiar: his gentle demeanor, the careful way he moved, and the unobtrusive attention he seemed to give. She felt an unusual comfort, a quiet curiosity about this man who seemed to exist at the edges of her world without ever disrupting it. She smiled softly to herself, sensing he was kind, yet completely unaware of how deep his feelings for her already ran. Seeing her smile, Alex felt a surge of emotion he could hardly contain. He realized that his connection to her was no longer casual or fleeting. He had begun to care for her deeply, to imagine a life where they might share more than just these brief, passing encounters. But he also knew he had to proceed with caution. He couldn't reveal too much, not yet, and he certainly couldn't risk overwhelming her. Every step, every gesture had to be deliberate, respectful, and slow, allowing trust to grow naturally between them. They began to exchange small conversations. Sometimes he would ask simple questions. "Do you come here often?" Or, "How was your day?" At first, Lily responded politely, keeping her answers brief but friendly. But as the encounters continued, she began to feel a subtle comfort in his presence. She noticed that he never asked for anything in return, and never seemed interested in imposing himself. There was an ease to being around him, a calm that contrasted sharply with the chaos of her everyday life. Over time, these small gestures grew into something more meaningful. Alex began leaving little tokens of his thoughtfulness. A flower left on the park bench where she often sat, a short note tucked inside her notebook with encouraging words, or a cup of her favorite tea placed quietly at her table in the cafe. Each act was carefully considered, designed to show care without any expectation. Lily discovered them slowly, and with each unexpected gift, curiosity and warmth filled her heart. She couldn't understand why a stranger would go to such lengths for her, and yet a small part of her felt deeply touched, sensing the genuine kindness behind each gesture. As the weeks passed, their silent connection deepened. Alex found himself planning brief detours just to see her finding delight in the simplest moments, a laugh she shared with a friend, the look of concentration in her eyes as she served customers, or the quiet resilience she displayed in her daily tasks. He began imagining a life where he could be a part of these moments more fully, sharing in her joys and comforting her in her small sorrows. The depth of his feelings surprised him. It was no longer a mere fascination, but a profound admiration and care that grew stronger with each encounter. Lily, meanwhile, began to feel the faint stirrings of curiosity and affection. She couldn't explain why, but she found herself anticipating the moments when she might see him again. There was a subtle thrill in these encounters, a quiet happiness in his gentle presence. She started looking forward to his small gestures, each one adding a bit of warmth to her otherwise ordinary days. Her heart, which had learned caution through life's hardships, began to respond to the kindness and consistency she experienced, even though she didn't yet know the depth of his feelings. One particularly warm afternoon, Alex noticed Lily struggling to carry a stack of packages from the cafe. Without a moment's hesitation, he stepped forward. "Let me help you with that," he said kindly, taking some of the weight into his own arms. Lily looked at him, surprise and gratitude mingling in her eyes. "Thank you," she said softly. As they walked together, sharing the load, the city around them seemed to blur, leaving only the rhythm of their steps and the quiet warmth of their connection. They spoke very little, yet the silence carried a meaning far deeper than words. In these moments, Alex realized that love wasn't about grand declarations or dramatic gestures, but about the quiet, consistent care that builds trust, admiration, and a true emotional connection. And for Lily, each encounter was a small awakening, a realization that there was still kindness, patience, and sincerity in the world, and that sometimes it could enter your life in the form of small gestures from someone who genuinely cared. The sun dipped low, painting the city in hues of orange and gold. The streets, once a blur of motion, were finally quieting down, their frenetic pulse slowing to a gentle, serene rhythm. Inside her cafe, Lily let out a soft sigh. It had been a long day, filled with the familiar sounds of clinking cups, lively chatter, and shared laughter. The room was cozy, a place of warmth and comfort she had built herself. Yet, as she looked around, her heart felt strangely light. A flutter of anticipation, a curious hum she couldn't quite place, had been growing within her for weeks. It was a feeling she couldn't explain, but it tingled with a sense of possibility, a hint that something was about to change. Across the street, leaning against a lamppost, Alex waited. His heart pounded with a nervous excitement he hadn't felt in years, but he held himself with deliberate patience. Every detail of this evening had been meticulously planned. Tonight was different. Tonight he wouldn't just be an anonymous face in the crowd. He would finally speak to her directly, not through fleeting glances or small, unspoken gestures. He needed to know her, to understand the person behind the quiet grace he'd been observing from afar. And maybe, just maybe, she would begin to understand the depth of what he felt. Lily stepped out into the cool evening air, pulling her coat tightly around her shoulders. The soft breeze played with her hair, and the city lights reflected in her eyes like a constellation of scattered stars. Her gaze drifted across the street, and she saw him. Alex, waiting, a gentle smile on his face. In his hand, he held an umbrella, as if he had known she would need it. Her breath caught. It was a mix of surprise and a strange, burgeoning curiosity. This wasn't just a random encounter. There was an unexpected familiarity in his presence, a sense of ease that made her heart skip a beat. He stepped forward, his voice soft as he held the umbrella toward her. "Hi, I thought you might need this." Lily hesitated for only a moment before a small smile touched her lips. She took the offered umbrella. "Thank you," she replied, her voice soft but steady. There was something in his tone, a sincerity, a kindness that immediately put her at ease. They began to walk, sharing the small shelter of the umbrella as they moved along the quiet streets. For the first time, words flowed between them, not forced or awkward, but with a natural, easy rhythm. Alex asked about her day, about her family, about the dreams she held for the future, and Lily found herself opening up, sharing fragments of her life with a quiet honesty. She spoke of the challenges of running the cafe, the small joys she found in helping her neighbors, and the simple, heartfelt dreams she kept tucked away. Alex listened, his eyes never leaving hers, completely absorbed. He was fascinated, not by her appearance or any superficial detail, but by the sincerity in her voice, by the way her eyes lit up when she spoke of the things she loved. He realized with a jolt that this was what true connection felt like. Not the hollow glamour of his own world, but the raw, honest beauty of another person's soul. Their conversation flowed seamlessly from one topic to the next. They talked about childhood memories, their favorite books, and the small, meaningful moments in life that often go unnoticed. Lily's soft laugh filled the air as he recounted a clumsy mishap from his youth, and Alex found himself captivated by the sound. It was a sound he felt he could listen to for the rest of his life. A gentle intimacy grew between them, a burgeoning trust that neither had expected, but both felt deeply. They were two strangers, yet it felt as if they were rediscovering a long-lost friendship. They paused near a quiet fountain, its waters shimmering under the glow of the streetlights. Alex turned to her, his expression serious but gentle. "I know we've only met a few times, and maybe this feels sudden," he began, his voice low and earnest. "But I've been noticing you for some time, and not just for how you look, but for who you are. You're different, honest and kind and strong. I admire that more than I can explain." Lily felt a warmth spread through her chest. She looked down for a moment, her heart fluttering with a mix of surprise and something else, something akin to recognition. She met his gaze. I don't know what to say," she admitted softly. "It's strange, having someone notice me like this. I've always felt a bit invisible sometimes." Alex shook his head gently, a firm but kind dismissal of her words. "You're far from invisible. In fact, I think I've been lucky just to know you exist. I wanted to meet you properly, to talk and maybe understand the person behind all the kindness I've seen." His words were deliberate, heartfelt, and completely sincere. For the first time, Lily felt a connection that went beyond simple curiosity or a fleeting encounter. His attention was genuine, free from any pretense. And in that moment, she allowed herself to feel the warmth and reassurance of his presence, letting her guard down just a little. They continued their walk, the city fading into a gentle blur of lights and sounds, leaving only the quiet rhythm of their steps and their shared conversation. Alex shared small stories about his life, too. He was careful, omitting the details of his wealth that might intimidate her, focusing instead on moments that revealed his character, his values, and the simple joys he cherished. Lily listened, fascinated. She was slowly realizing that beneath the sophisticated exterior, there was a man who was thoughtful, gentle, and deeply sincere. The person she was getting to know was far more compelling than any preconceived notion she might have had. As they neared a park, the fountain they had passed earlier glimmered in the twilight. They sat on a bench, and for the first time, neither felt the need to fill the silence. The quiet between them wasn't empty. It was comfortable, filled with a gentle understanding that spoke louder than words. Lily glanced at Alex, truly seeing him. the softness in his eyes, the patience in his demeanor, the quiet admiration that seemed to radiate from him. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small sketchbook, a habit he rarely shared. "I've been drawing," he admitted shyly. "Sometimes it helps me understand things. Or people." He handed it to her. Lily carefully opened the worn pages. Inside were detailed sketches of city streets, small flowers blooming in sidewalk cracks, and people in motion. And then, nestled among them, was a delicate drawing of a girl standing by a car window, her hand adjusting her hair. Lily's breath caught in her throat. "Is this—" she began, her voice trembling just slightly. Alex nodded, a soft smile on his face. "That morning, the first time I noticed you. I didn't approach you then, because I didn't want to startle you, but I couldn't stop thinking about it." A blush rose to Lily's cheeks, a mixture of embarrassment and a strange, delightful warmth. She looked at him, really looked, and saw the profound honesty and admiration in his eyes. I never imagined someone could notice such a small thing," she whispered. "It's not small to me," Alex replied softly, his gaze steady. "It's everything. The way you move, the way you care, the way you see the world. I wanted to know you." They sat in silence for a few more moments, the city humming its gentle nightly song around them. Lily realized she was beginning to trust him, to feel a connection that was deeper than she'd ever anticipated. She felt seen, truly seen, in a way she had never experienced before. And Alex felt the same. He had found something rare and precious, a bond that he knew could grow, slowly, patiently, and beautifully. As the evening drew to a close, Alex walked her back to the cafe entrance. The street was quiet now, bathed in the soft glow of the lamplight. "I don't want to overwhelm you," he said gently, his voice full of consideration. "But I hope this is just the beginning." Lily looked up at him and smiled, a real, genuine smile that reached her eyes. A soft warmth filled her heart, chasing away the last of her hesitation. "I think," she said, her voice full of a newfound hope, "maybe it is." After that first honest talk, everything felt different. A new lightness had found its way into Lily's steps, a quiet hum of anticipation that followed her through the day. She couldn't deny the warmth Alex had brought into her life. Whenever she thought of him, a gentle smile would just appear. Her world, once so predictable and routine, now sparkled with a sense of possibility, a quiet, unfolding magic that turned ordinary moments into something special. Alex felt it too, a profound shift deep within him. He found himself thinking about her constantly, planning subtle ways to see her, to share another moment, to build on the connection that was growing between them. His gestures, once small and cautious, now carried a quiet confidence. He was starting to understand that love wasn't about grand declarations or dramatic displays. It was about presence, attention, a gentle, consistent care that made someone feel seen, valued, and completely safe. One bright spring morning, Alex decided to act. He invited Lily for a walk in the park, a quiet escape from the city's constant hum. He got there early, finding the perfect path lined with trees, their new leaves shimmering in the soft light. On a secluded bench he placed a single, perfect flower. It was a small gesture, but deliberate. He hoped she'd see it and understand the care behind it. As he waited, he rehearsed what he wanted to say, wanting the words to come from his heart without overwhelming her. Soon, Lily arrived, clutching her bag and notebook, her hair catching the sunlight in gentle waves. Her eyes immediately fell on the flower, widening in surprise. "Did someone leave this for me?" she whispered, picking it up. Alex stepped out from behind a nearby tree, a warm, calm smile on his face. "I thought you might like it," he said gently. "It's just a small way to show I care." A soft blush colored Lily's cheeks, a sweet mix of surprise and delight. "It's beautiful," she said softly. "Thank you." As her fingers brushed the delicate petals, a silent, powerful connection passed between them. They started walking, their steps falling into a comfortable, shared rhythm. The park was a haven of serenity. Birds sang in the distance, sunlight streamed through the branches, and the air carried the faint, sweet scent of blossoms. Conversation flowed easily between them. They talked about small joys, their favorite books, little dreams they held close. Each word, each shared glance, seemed to carry a weight far greater than casual chat. It was building trust, deepening the emotional bond between them with every step. Alex opened up, sharing stories from his childhood, memories of simple joys and quiet moments that had shaped the man he was. Lily listened, completely captivated. It wasn't his wealth or status that drew her in, but the raw authenticity in his voice, the way he spoke without any hint of pretension or pride. She felt a growing admiration, a sense of safety she hadn't realized she was missing, and a curious excitement about what might be coming next. They paused by a small pond, its surface glittering like 1,000 scattered diamonds in the sun. Alex turned to her, his expression earnest and open. "Lily," he began softly, "I've come to realize something important. I care for you, deeply, and it's not because of how you look or anything superficial. It's because of who you are. You've changed the way I see the world. You've made it brighter, gentler, and full of hope." Lily felt her heart swell, the sincerity in his eyes almost overwhelming. She looked down for a moment, gathering her thoughts. I don't know what to say," she admitted, her voice barely a whisper. "I never expected anyone to see me like this." Alex took a soft breath, moving just a fraction closer. "You don't have to say anything right now. I just wanted you to know. I care about you, Lily, truly." His voice was steady, warm, and filled with an honesty that resonated deep inside her. For the first time, Lily let herself truly feel the weight of his words. This wasn't some fleeting crush or a casual infatuation. This was real, a genuine connection, built piece by piece over weeks of small gestures, shared moments, and a foundation of growing trust. Her heart, so carefully guarded for so long, began to open. "Alex," she said softly, looking up to meet his gaze, "I think maybe I feel the same way. Your kindness, your patience, everything you've shown me, it means more than I can ever explain." A slow, brilliant smile spread across his face. He reached out and, with a quiet reverence, took her hand in his. The warmth of his touch, combined with the pure sincerity in his eyes, made her heart flutter. In that moment, the bustling city around them seemed to fade away, leaving only the two of them, connected by a bond that was tender, real, and completely undeniable. They continued their walk, their hands now brushing lightly, then linking together. They shared small jokes, their laughter echoing softly in the quiet air, and fell into silences that were just as comfortable and meaningful. Every step, every glance, every shared smile seemed to strengthen the invisible thread that now connected them. The park, bathed in the golden afternoon light, had become their sanctuary, a place where two hearts could finally begin to explore the beginnings of love without fear or pretense. Alex led her to a bench under a large, sprawling tree, its branches swaying in the gentle breeze. They sat, sharing more stories, dreams for the future, hopes they secretly held, and moments that had defined their lives. Lily felt a freedom she had never known, a freedom to just be herself, to speak her truth, and to feel everything without reservation. And Alex, listening to her, realized that love wasn't just about admiration. It was about supporting, listening, and cherishing another person in ways both big and small. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in breathtaking shades of pink and gold, Alex turned to Lily again, his expression gentle but serious. "I know our worlds are different," he said softly, "but I want to be a part of your world. I want to share the moments, the joys, and even the challenges with you, if you'll let me." Lily looked into his eyes, the truth of his words washing over her. She saw the patience, the care, the genuine affection he held for her, and she knew, with a certainty that settled peacefully in her soul, that her heart was ready. "I would like that," she replied softly, giving his hand a gentle squeeze. They sat there together on the bench as twilight descended, their hands intertwined, their hearts aligned. It was a quiet, tender beginning. A love that didn't rush but grew steadily, nurtured by trust, respect, and a care so genuine it felt like coming home. For anyone watching, it was the beautiful culmination of weeks of suspense and anticipation. All the small gestures, the subtle connections, the heartfelt conversations, all leading to this moment, to a love that was patient, real, and built to last. As night fell completely, the city lights began to twinkle, their reflections dancing on the surface of the pond. Alex and Lily walked back slowly, hand in hand, sharing soft smiles and quiet laughter. Their steps were deliberate yet carefree, a perfect testament to the beautiful, irresistible bond they had finally allowed to bloom between them.